What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Lights Out F1 podcast. I am Patrick. That's Claire. That's Jakob. And today we got something special planned for you guys. So we've been thinking about tracks that we want to go to next year as a group, and we all came up with presentations for what track we think we should go to next year. So, uh, ladies first. Claire's gonna start us off.
All right. So, the question, what 2024 F1 race should we go to? Well, it's lights out and away we go. Let's find out. All right, guys. You guys read this quote. Try to guess who said this.
Someone said to me that you can have three wishes. My first would be to get into racing. My second would be to be in Formula One, and my third to drive for Ferrari.
Any guesses? Who said that?
Well, obviously it has to be a Ferrari driver.
Mm-hmm.
Jakob has his hand raised.
Go ahead, Jakob.
Charles Leclerc.
No.
See, I was thinking that, but I was like, it can't be that obvious. I'm gonna say Michael Schumacher.
Nope.
All right, who is it?
There we go. So yes, we should go to the Canadian Grand Prix. All right. Okay. Look at that beautiful track. Yeah, look at the beautiful track. Look at the gopher. I think it's a gopher. Anyway.
It's a beaver.
Canadian Grand Prix. It's a beaver?
Yes, Canada's known for beavers. How dare you?
Okay, well, yeah, anyway.
It's the Rockies behind him.
Okay, guys, so I think this would be a great Grand Prix to go to. First of all, it's not that expensive. It's pretty reasonable. $600 for a 3-day grandstand ticket. Like that was like the best grandstand you can get. Like turn one was only like $600 for 3 days. Yeah, so and then you can see that like we could spend up to like, $6,500 and get like paddock passes or something.
Yes.
But we don't have to. But it's like not the most expensive for a paddock pass either.
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
Yeah. So, also, there was an increase in people going last year. So, I don't know. I think it'd be like a lively one to go to and just like super fun.
Over the entire weekend or for one day?
Over the entire weekend.
Okay. Oh, it literally says the weekend.
See, it says, yep.
That's wild.
And it was the largest in history for Montreal the race. Okay, so now I've got like 6 different reasons why we should go.
Oh wow!
One, you can see that in 4 of the last 9 Grand Prix there, the pole position was decided by less than a tenth of a second. Mm-hmm. And when Alonso and Max were fighting, I think 2 years ago, it was pretty close. Yeah, look at how cute Alonso and Max are. Okay, anyway. 2, there's been some pretty cool things that have happened at Canadian Grand Prix over the years. The first one was Lewis Hamilton's first win in Canada. Look at him. Look how happy he was. Maybe we can see another first win next year. Jakob, how does that make you feel?
Since 2021.
My goat. That's my goat.
All right. Another reason. You remember like Button's unlikely victory in the 2011? That was the longest race. So, not saying it's going to happen again. Not saying it's going to happen again. But it would be kind of cool if you got a lot of, like, time out of your race weekend, And seeing an unlikely victory would be awesome. Well, it's in June, so probably not.
But it gets rained on so much.
Well, it would be fun. Yes. All right. Ricardo, Danny Rick, he also won his first Grand Prix in Canada as well.
Oh, that's weird.
In 2014.
I was hungry. That was his first one. But okay. Learn something new every day.
Look at it. And there's Seb and Nico. Okay, and then also the drama, right? 2019 with Seb and Lewis.
Oh, where he changed the post
I think. Yeah, I think Seb got pole position, and finally you got like the wall of champions, right? So I think that would be really cool to see. A lot of history with the track and all that. Yeah, you can read that if you want.
The last I was gonna read it out loud.
Okay, go ahead.
The last corner at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, turn 13, is a tricky chicane which leads onto the start-finish straight. It has become known as the Wall of Champions due to the number of F1 greats it has caught out over the years. This list of drivers to have accidents at turn 13 includes Michael Schumacher, Damon Hill, Jacques Villeneuve, Jenson Button, and Sebastian Vettel.
Oh, you know something interesting? Jacques never won there.
Never be as good as his dad, even though his dad never won a world championship.
Okay, also, Montreal is awesome. It's not that far from us, but it's in a different country.
Is it part of Quebec?
There's delicious. Yes. We get to eat delicious food. They have a lot of great food options. Shop at awesome boutiques. Sightsee the French 17th century architecture, and we can even walk around McGill University. So I think it would just be fun to hang out in Montreal. What?
What is McGill University?
It's a college in Montreal.
Is it like a world-renowned one, or like?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Definitely. It's really pretty too.
Cool.
Okay. To kind of wrap up, Montreal as a city is awesome. The Canadian Grand Prix quali and race will be exciting. It's close to home, but still outside the U.S. And tickets are affordable. So I think we should go next year to the Canadian Grand Prix.
Awesome.
Let's go, man. All right, that's it.
Okay, I'm going to go next. A place with a nice surface, people, and a few cars. Helping PowerPoint created by Patrick Nelson, a victim of being a Williams fan.
Okay.
We're going to read you this. Raise your hand if you know what this is. I can't see if you have your hands raised, so just
Yes, we both do. Yes.
It's a street.
It's a street?
You got it right, it's a street. But this
Okay.
is like a street, but better quality. Does anybody know what it's called?
Track?
A track. And do you know what we put on tracks?
Trains.
No.
Cars?
Cars. But not just any cars. What type of car is this?
Oh, good size. Good.
It's a Mercedes.
It's an F1 car.
Okay.
And these cars race in many countries.
Indeed.
But where am I picking?
No!
Jesus Christ.
You picked Canada too?
Yes.
Oh no.
Canada's known for a ton of things. Poutine, which
Yes.
I've never tried. Syrup. Ice hockey. Saying A after every sentence. And the Canadian Rockies. Also beavers. But we're not
Apparently.
here for those.
Yes, we are.
No. We're here for this. We're here for a
Beautiful.
race. So why the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve? Amazing top speeds. Obviously the Wall of Champions. Changeable weather that happens every other year with rain on either qualifying day or a race day. Williams does notoriously well there, although this is a picture of a Williams crashing. And it is a summer race, usually taking place in June. What else is there besides the race? What's in Montreal? You said 17th century, but there's also amazing 18th century Vaux Montreal houses. Shopping districts, world-class design and technology, La Grande Roue de Montreal, which is the largest Ferris wheel in all of Canada, chocolate tours.
All of Canada.
Yes. The cost of tickets and apartment, or I meant to say hotels, but apartments as well, is reasonable. It's a very safe place, and it has some gorgeous scenery.
Are we getting an apartment?
Yes. The history of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Of course, the Wall of Champions, which Claire mentioned. Jensen's 2011 win in changing conditions with 6 pit stops and catching up to Sebastian Vettel's seemingly unbeatable Red Bull. Lewis running into the back of Kimi in 2008 in the pit lane. Nigel Mansell's car shutting down the last straight of the last lap of the race in 1991. Lando's right rear literally blowing up, his brake being on fire in the middle of the race. The famous images of Jarno Trulli catching air in 1998, and Lewis and Seb almost coming together in 2019, and then Seb swapping the number 2 and number 1 signs after the race because he feels he got an unruly 5-second time penalty costing him the win.
Yep.
That's all I have for you. I really just want to try authentic Canadian poutine.
Okay.
I think we might be going to Canada,
I
think
think we might be going to Canada.
Unless Jakob can convince us otherwise.
I can definitely convince you otherwise.
Alright, let's
Alright,
watch
can everybody
this.
see everything?
Let me make sure I got this up. Alright. I knew this was coming.
Can
Go
everybody
ahead.
see it? Okay, cool. Oh, that didn't work. Can you still see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Are you not going to read your title slide?
Oh yes, we're going to be talking about Silverstone. We're going to Silverstone next year. It is the greatest track on the calendar. This PowerPoint presentation has been made by Supreme Commander Jakob Philipp of Team LH. All
Cool,
hail
cool.
Supreme Me. Okay. Origin. It is based on the site of a Royal Air Force base, so that's very common knowledge to most F1 fans.
I love how
Crofty brings
pixelated
it
this
up.
picture is.
Yeah, well, too bad, so sad. It isn't, as much as I would like to think it's a nice track, it isn't perfect. It's pretty flat, not as nice as the European street circuits, especially Monaco and Azerbaijan, and pretty bumpy, but it is a track that has delivered some great stuff. Jackie Stewart, we've seen Williams winning for Patrick's side of the audience, and we've seen Hamilton obviously winning in 2008. Quite the dominant win, won by about a minute, and it was the start of his domination
He
at
lapped
this track.
everybody up to 5th place. Lapping 5 or 6 seconds
Exactly.
faster than everybody.
Exactly. It's fantastic. Perfect track. Lovely. Now this is the track layout. Perfection, as you can see. Stowe Corner, the most famous ones, Copse, Maggots, Beckett's, Woodcut, Chapel Curve, Hanger Straight. Obviously, well, the international pit straight is now Hampton Straight because, you know, he is the GOAT.
Yes.
Notable overtakes. Through goes Hamilton. Obviously, for those of you who are oblivious, we have Valtteri and Lewis in 2019 battling it out straight through Copse. That was fun. And we have some other noted overtakes and incidents notable incidents that we will talk about later. Stats. Races held 57 at Silverstone. Obviously, there have been other British Grand Prix, but 57 have been held at. Wow, this is spelling error, but it's okay. Anyways, first race was held at 1950 in Silverstone. The last race most recently was in 2023. British Grand Prix, most wins, Lewis Hamilton has 8 because, of course, he owns the track. Not literally, but figuratively. And most wins by a constructor, Ferrari 18. Why should we go? It is the greatest track on the calendar. We will get to see Lewis Hamilton win there very soon. Always provides good racing, unlike other tracks. You know, we have boring ones like China, and Canada can be sometimes boring, so I don't know why both of you did both on Canada, but like, okay. And we also can go to see Copse, where Max Verstappen received the humbling of a lifetime. That was very entertaining for me. I enjoyed it quite a lot.
Still lost that season.
Max Verstappen fans can go suck it. Yeah, but like, let's not get into that. Okay, questions or comments? As you can see, we have a meme. Any questions?
Anyways, so at the end of the video, if you stuck around to the end of those, let us know which of those tracks you think we should go to.
I mean, I think the consensus around
Majority
three of
vote.
us is that Canada wins. I should have put like Monaco or something, but I was just thinking like practical. Like we could actually go to the Montreal Grand Prix next year.
Yes, I was gonna put Coda, but I was like, Claire might put a U.S. Grand Prix, and it might be Coda or Miami, but no.
I would never put Miami.
Okay.
Hold up, I'll come back.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we lost Kuba.
There he is. Hello.
He's back.
Okay, outside of that, some F1 news to talk about real quick before we log out.
Oh,
So the
not
FIA
anymore.
is planning on introducing weight limitations for either 2024 towards the middle half of the season or 2025 at the early part of the season because the cars are simply getting too heavy. So I'm kind of curious what your guys' thoughts are on that before I dive further into it.
The cars are too heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cars, for
Yeah.
reference, the cars used to be 600 kilograms,
Well,
maybe
then they should
2010,
keep them
and right now they're
lighter.
almost 800.
Maybe that can like shake Red Bull a little bit, or are they not that heavy?
Well, everybody's roughly the same weight. They're all at the very peak of the weight limit right now, except for
All
Alfa
right,
Romeo.
I'm fine with them doing
Can I
that
speak real
because
quickly?
maybe it'll mess Red Bull up.
Jakob?
Question before I keep going. Can you hear my fan?
No,
Okay, cool. Because I'm sweating and I need it.
I can tell.
Um.
You race Jakob.
Anyways. Yeah, I think they need to get lighter. The whole purpose of getting rid of all that barge board nonsense was just try and bring the weight down, and instead we've gotten heavier.
Hmm.
So yeah, go lighter. That should be the way to go. Because then it probably incentivize more overtaking, and you at some point you'll be able to wean yourself off of DRS. So I definitely think you should go lighter.
So,
Let's go lighter.
as the other part of that, though, F1 is, of course, the pinnacle of all racing and aerodynamic technology. And with that comes the necessity of adding that technology, which can be extremely heavy. The floor, specifically, is probably one of the heaviest components of the car. So, do you guys think it's a problem of, reducing or somehow shrinking the size of all the technology that goes into the cars?
That could be one way to do it. If you think about like, let's say like laptops or like computers or something like that, over time they made it smaller and lighter, and I feel like that can be done with almost any technology over time. So maybe they just need like a couple more steps in the evolution of all the different parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it doesn't affect the sound, you still want like the sound of the engine. You still want natural racing. You still want exciting racing. So I think as long as whatever approach they take doesn't affect that, and still generates competitive racing in the long term, I'm fine with it.
So also in 2026, the engines, the MGU-H is being taken out, which I don't know if you guys know what that does, but essentially it's one of the two components made to generate energy for the ERS system. There's the MGU-K, which stands for kinetic, and MGU-H, which is the heat one, and the heat one's getting taken out. So it might introduce something which a lot of people knew about when KERS was a thing called turbo lag. Anybody who has
Yeah.
played F1 or watches F1 knows that drivers have a certain amount of energy they're allowed to deploy per lap, and how much they can restore per lap. And so these two things are what you use to restore energy. And so I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are on, the necessity of DRS now that the potential amount of energy being harvested per lap is probably going to be going down with the new engine regulations.
That is an interesting contradictory move on them. Why are they taking that out?
It's an expensive piece of equipment.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, you're making it sound like they'll rely more on DRS if they can't charge their battery, but they already rely on DRS so much, so it's like, I don't know. Hard to say.
Cooper.
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, listen, if it doesn't affect the racing, which I hope it doesn't, I'm fine with it. It just, like the FIA said, these new regs were supposed to improve racing, and it did for like a bit, and now we just see that little shit drive off into the distance, and the rest of them race for themselves. So the whole point whether you agree with me or not, the whole point of introducing new regulations was to stop Mercedes from dominating, was to close the grid up, was to make it more competitive.
Uh-huh.
But
And
that already happened in 2021 before the reg change, right?
yeah, but yes, but also in
So-
2021 you had you had regulations that were directed at lower rate cars such as the Mercedes and the Aston Martin. So Patrick can't disagree with that. So the whole point of changing up the regulations was to try and stop the dominance. And yes, they succeeded in stopping Mercedes' dominance, although they just created a new dominant team, which is fair. You can't fault Red Bull for getting the regs right and dominating in the way that they have. F1 is a meritocracy. Other teams have to get better, but they just have to be careful with whatever regulations they intend to do for 2026 and carry out. They need to be careful that it isn't creating another dominance of effect, because slowly they'll start losing audience members again, because they lost audience members before Drive to Survive. Drive to Survive spiked up that audience, and slowly, if I read correctly, they are losing audience members again because of the dominance that Max Verstappen is showing.
Yep.
So I think whatever they do, just make sure that one team is always going to get it really, really right. So but as long as you make it fairly competitive and sort of use the rules to the effect that there isn't that one dominant team, you should be good to go.
Yep. So before I jump into what exactly the 2026 regulations are, I kind of am curious, based on last year and this year, it looks like Red Bull is by and far the most dominant, which is similar to what we saw from Mercedes back in 2014, 2015, 2016, and arguably 2017. So I'm kind of curious, do you guys think that next year, or maybe in 2025, we'll see a team actually catch up to Red Bull? Because this is a vastly shorter regulation period compared to the turbo hybrid era, which lasted 8 years. So
I mean, possibly. I don't know if it's just like Red Bull kind of talking, but with McLaren, they think McLaren has a shot. I have no idea. Anyone really does have a shot, but like realistically, I don't think anyone's catching up to Red Bull. Oh, something funny that happened. I saw that Adrian Newey was hanging out with Zach Brown, and they switched hats. I can't believe they were sitting down after Zach Brown said that thing about Checo.
McLaren fans wish that Adrian Newey would come back to them.
Adrian Newey screwed over
Zach Brown was wearing a Red Bull cap, and Adrian Newey was wearing a McLaren cap. It was kind of funny.
Adrian Newey single-handedly stopped Kimi Räikkönen from having more titles than he did. That dude was hell-bent to put that car on the 2005 grid, and nothing was stopping him.
Fun. Oh.
Jakob, you were saying?
Dude. What was I saying?
All right. Good talk. So, for the
2020... No. What was I saying?
Don't know.
Oh, yeah. Adrian, you and Zach Brown probably agreed on the fact that... on the Checo Perez comment.
Okay, so what the 2026 regulations are is first off, the easiest one, a continuation of the decreasing temperature of the tire blankets. I think in 2026 the tire blankets will no longer be a thing. They use too much electrical energy, and because of it, they're thinking about cutting them out entirely. So tire temps it's going to be you might see people doing 2, maybe even 3 laps to warm up the tires. Again, all speculation, because we're not sure what the engine will look like. That's the second part. For the engines, the MGU-H is getting taken out, so we might see a lower overall power from the engines, which would suck, but they also still have 3 more years to work on making the engine stronger. Plus, we also have a new engine producer in Audi, so hopefully we get a competitive engine out of them. And Red Bull, of course, is creating their own engines, which is really just an extension of Honda power. Outside of that, the weight limit is being reduced by 100 to 150 kilograms. We're not sure, so the cars are going to be a maximum of 700 or 650 kilograms, which means the cars will be significantly lighter. About 25 of that will already be taken with the MGU-H for the engine. Yeah, so those are the major regulation changes, so I'm kind of curious, like, what do you guys think about those? And do you think it's too early to start speculating on it?
Probably too early to start speculating on it. We're still many of the teams are still kind of grasping with these regulations and trying to get the most out of their car. So it's hard to say. Definitely the teams like that are ahead now are going to be ahead most likely within the new regulations, like because Red Bull doesn't have to do that much more, research and R&D and all that because for this set of regulations because they already have it pretty down pat, and they're just making minor tweaks and stuff to keep up with any of the other teams catching them. But yeah, they probably can focus a lot more on the new regulations and get that right as well. But you never know because that didn't happen with Mercedes. So
Jakob?
I heard that Red Bull have been lobbying for some changes in the engine regs for 26 because they're a little bit down on power compared to Mercedes, Audi, and Ferrari. So
they already know for
really? For that. Apparently, that's what everyone's saying. That's why they're trying to get some of the engine rules changed for 26 because they think they're down on power compared to Mercedes, Ferrari, and Audi. And apparently, I mean, Toto said something about Christian lobbying for changes because the Red Bull powertrain project isn't going as well as they thought it would.
Interesting.
But things we love to hear, of course.
Yeah.
As all non-Red Bull fans, things we love to hear.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all with it. I'm all for it. Just, I think lighter cars will do them a lot of good. I think it'll help with overtaking, help with more natural racing. So I'm fine with it. The one thing that I would probably be careful about is the tire blanket rule that they're trying to introduce either next year or the year after. I think they need to be, because from what all the drivers have said, they all said they hated it. So
yeah, because this year we're stuck at 70 degrees Celsius for the tire blankets, and next year it's gonna be 50. So
yeah, imagine Ferrari with their tire warm-up issues next year at 50. Ooh, that's gonna be tough for them.
Imagine Red Bull with their tire warm-up issues.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be okay. I think Red Bull will be fine.
Max already does 2 out laps in order to warm up his tires for qualifying. Yeah, I do have a question, though, for 2026. Three parts, actually. So, first off, Honda still hasn't found an official team. Wait, no, they are. They're part of Aston Martin. I am curious to know which of Honda to Aston Martin, Ford working on Red Bull's electrical energy, and Audi as a brand new engine manufacturer, which one of them are you most excited for?
Most excited for?
Yes.
Audi, for sure. Audi.
Yeah, probably Audi. Just new to the sport right now.
Yep.
I mean, Ford. What are you really gonna notice about Ford being there doing that? I don't know.
Well, so with the new regulations taking out the MGUH, Ford will be working entirely on the energy supply and MGUK for Red Bull's power supply or power unit.
Okay.
So Red Bull powertrains only has to work on their ICE, their turbocharger, and then one other part. So
I'm just still, yeah, I think I'd still say Audi though.
Makes sense, just because they're new to the sport. Another German manufacturer.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you guys have anything?
I heard a rumor that Ford. I heard a rumor that Ford isn't actually doing a lot for Red Bull. I think it might just be like they're sending people over, but it primarily is just like a title sponsorship deal. It's like more of a money thing than it is an actual partnership. It's very like I think the technical side of it is a very limited partnership compared to their sponsorship deal, compared to the commercial side of things.
I think it's gonna be hard.
Probably trying to sell electric trucks, right?
Well, just electrical vehicles in general. The endeavor was taken up by Ford for the sole purpose of creating more sustainable electric cars, like road cars. But also, right now, you're not going to hear much along the lines of like Ford actually helping Red Bull, because they're working on two very, very separate parts of the engine right now. And so Ford can't do anything. Quite frankly, you can't make an ERS without knowing what the ICE and what the turbocharger is going to look like for the 2026 regulations. So that's why Red Bull's doing most of the work right now. And then once you know what your turbocharger looks like for 2026, then you can start working on what the energy supply for that system is going to look like.
We're going to Canada.
If you stayed to the end again, let us know which of the 2 tracks we went over out of the 3 of us you think we should go to, or if you have any other opinions on other tracks we should potentially go to. I thought of also putting Brazil as one, but I didn't know what other people were doing. We tried to keep it secret up until the episode. But until next time, Claire.
It's lights out, and away we go.